Evil Karen tried to dictate her son's life long after he moved out. Hello. I kinda wish I had my own Karen story to post here. But apart from farting into a vent to get back at a bad housemate, I don't have anything else interesting of my own to share. But I do have one story from a former friend of mine. We aren't friends anymore since he just got more toxic with time. And it likely stems from his mother, who was a real Princess Peach in her own right. Her husband died when her son was a teenager, and she quickly remarried. My former friend, FF for short, did not like his new stepfather. And it was a mutual hate as the man had his own kids. He moved into the house. FF turned 18, moved out and into an apartment above his grandparents' garage, and we met when we were both 20. We were co-workers that hit it off well. I was new to the area at the time. And he helped me figure the city out. For 5 years he and I were like brothers. We knew everything about each other. But then he started to get demanding. And one day he punched me for suggesting he get a mental health check. He refused to apologize, and we went our separate ways. I'm 30 now. And haven't heard from him in a long time now. FF's mom was a whole other can of vodka-soaked gummy worms though. This woman was clearly narcissistic. And FF cried to me about her many times. She showed up at his apartment constantly. And she was always trying to volunteer him to do things. He told me that before he moved out, she would regularly tell friends and relatives that he would come over and do chores for them. And then force him to do it. Either for free, or his mom would keep the money if he was paid anything. Eventually FF's grandparents had to open up a checking account for him to deposit any money he earned into, so he'd have something to use when he became an adult. FF's mom lost her mind, and demanded access to the account. She claimed before that she'd only been holding on to FF's money for him till he was of age. But they knew she spent it, because she never willingly returned a cent. FF's grandparents made her pay back $200, even though it was likely more than that. And she acted like they were robbing her, even though she'd basically been robbing FF for years. Fast forward to when FF and I are best friends. I watched him get in several confrontations with his mother. And after a while he came up with something I thought was genius. He got a generic spray bottle filled with water, and kept it in reach by the front door. When his mom would start yelling at him when he talked to her while she stood outside, he'd squirt her in the face and tell her no like a dog when she got belligerent. FF, thanks to help from his grandparents, managed to afford a car. It was just an old minivan. But he treated it like his baby. FF's mom flipped her lid because she felt it unsafe for FF to have a car. She never helped him get his license. His grandparents had to do that. FF's mom never really had a good reason as to why she didn't want him to drive. But she nagged at him about it anyway. FF told me the real reason she was so angry was that FF owning his own car meant that he could go far away and never come back, if he wanted to. And she wanted to keep him under her thumb. Then FF's mom went from nagging about how he shouldn't be driving, to him needing to share the van with his eldest step-sibling. This kid was 16 or so, and had a permit hot off the press. Not a license. A permit. FF understandably didn't trust this kid, and told his mom no. His stepbrother would not be driving his car. His mom showed up again with the whole stepfamily in tow. And they gave FF a big speech about how he needed to help family. He told them he'd call police if they even touched his van. The next day he found both sides of his van had been keyed. The paint already sucked. But this didn't help. Fortunately the apartment complex had CCTV. And it showed FF's stepdad doing the deed. He was given a choice to either repaint the van, or FF would press charges. The man repainted the van himself. Wasn't great paint. But it was an improvement. The van went from patchy metallic green to white. The final thing that happened with FF's mom before FF and I stopped being friends, was she attempted to force FF to renounce any claim to his grandparents' will. FF's grandparents had become so fed up with their daughter's entitled narcissistic behavior, that they said they'd changed their joint will to give everything to their grandson. FF was elated by this. But his mother, not so much. She had a meltdown about it, and FF got threats from his stepdad. FF just told them that he'd take all evidence of harassment to police if they didn't leave him alone. And they finally did. They'd stopped talking to FF completely by the time we parted ways. So that's it. The only Karen story I have to tell. TLDR, former best friend's mom was a complete entitled nightmare who wanted control of every aspect of her son's life, and it cost her, her inheritance.